So, Web3 track, welcome to the AMA session. I feel like I'm doing Discord. We were just talking about Clubhouse and Discord. I feel like I'm hosting my old Clubhouse AMA rooms. We're going to be talking about Web3 and blockchain technology, and I have today Linda Ricci, who is going to tell us a little bit more about herself and her guests. So welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here late on the first day. Is everybody fading yet? Because I know I am. Yes, I know, exactly. I'm here with Radha of the Web3 Foundation. Before we get started, I thought we'd do a very short intro on us. I am self-employed. I have worked with some of the world's most successful companies to help them figure out how to enter, market, and monetize emerging technologies. And I also speak regularly on stage about the metaverse and all the technologies that are associated with it. Radha is from the Web3 Foundation, so please introduce yourself.
Sure. So I'm a technical educator, in fact, technical education lead at Web3 Foundation. A brief introduction about what we do. So Web3 Foundation was founded by Gavin Wood, who was a co-founder of Ethereum, and he was the one who coined the term like Web3, which is being used right now in excess. So a brief backdrop about like how I came about to be a technical educator at Web3 Foundation. So I did my PhD in computer science at State University of New York at Buffalo, and that was in augmented reality and computer vision. And then I was a faculty at University of Vermont, where I taught like computer science for 3 years, and then I moved to Switzerland, which is where I flew from. So yeah, so I have the intersection of what's happening in this conference, as well as insider knowledge about where blockchain is.
Yeah.
So feel free to ask any sort of questions, from is Bitcoin a scam to why do I need 24 words, or what is proof of stake? The floor is open.
I like how you just put the elephant in the room right out there. All right. Before, I know the title of the session was Ask Us Anything, and we are absolutely going to have that happen. But before it started, I thought maybe we should have 1 or 2 questions to kick it off, and then open the floor up to people. So my first question is, I'd like to actually hear more about the Web3 Foundation. And I know you've told us a little bit about your role there, but what do they do, and what is their remit and all that?
Sure. So Web3 Foundation is a foundation, so it's a nonprofit organization set up in Zug, Switzerland. So we basically fund projects, give more of like grants. Mm-hmm. So we have raised money in 2017, and then we use that money to fund projects that are going to use the blockchain technology mm-hmm. for making things work better, in the whole Web3 setting. So part of that is also like the metaverse aspect, like how does blockchain technology assist metaverse come mm-hmm. to fruition or reality. Okay. So yeah, so we do a lot of grants. We educate people on blockchain technology and Web3, and we have like a strong legal team. So Web3 Foundation actually testified in front of Congress a couple of weeks ago, and we are like big proponents of blockchain technology.
Got that. Okay, cool. Thought we should maybe do a little bit of a level set and talk about what is the current role of blockchain in the metaverse, because there's a lot of different ways it can be used, and what role does it and can it play?
Sure. I think I would request them to switch the screen to a blockchain network that is actually running. Can you switch? Yep. So that's a live blockchain right there. So you see that there are 15 million blocks that got like finalized, and every 6 seconds, a new block is being produced, which is being broadcast to all the other computers in the world. And these computers are just like the regular computers that you're using, and not a single entity owns like everything in there. So most of these are run by individuals. So we can call this as a decentralized network. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of that is one of them sort of produces the block, and every other node sort of agrees, like that is sort of final. So that's what you're seeing right there. So the finalized block is right 505, and the newest block is 508. and every 6 seconds you're getting this new block. The idea is that all the events and transactions happening on this network, they're getting finalized, or so everything on blockchain is set in stone digitally. So that's happening within 20 seconds. So that's where we are right now. So this is the state of the art. This is Polkadot network, and talking about like metaverse, like why do we need like blockchain to begin with? So one of the key things about metaverse is that you're gonna talk about it like later, I know, but it's the ownership and proof of verification of your ownership, right? So that is what blockchain excels at. Like you're able to show that you own something because everything in blockchain is set in stone, right? So that's what, and every single node in that network you saw agrees on your ownership.
For me, it's the authentication layer is what I usually call it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like that's one key thing about like blockchain as well, proving that you are the owner, and that's how you authenticate, things as well.
There's a couple of things it can be used for. It can be used for identity as well, which is a really key aspect for Metaverse and XR. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, so I was going to talk about identity plus ownership as the secret sauce. That was coming up like later on.
Question.
But yeah, so certainly like like I mentioned, the set in stone aspect of blockchain is like the fundamental layer with which all of these applications sort of arise. Like you can have commerce, you can have trust in the system, and you can know that there is no sort of kill switch. Nobody can take away things from you if you put your stuff on like blockchain.
Right. Is there anything else? Anything else that we haven't covered? Authentication, transaction, ownership, purchasing. Is there anything else?
Identity.
Okay. Very good. How do you think this is going to fuel the next generation of businesses? Because it seems that we're still trying to figure out exactly. It's very cool. It's very new. Everybody's dropping NFTs and all that. Brands are using it. But what do you think the next generation in the next couple of years, how do you think it's going to mature?
Yeah, so a lot of the talks today had this theme, right? So let's talk about XR. So now you're setting the platform, right? You're bringing the technology to life. There's things are moving like forward. Now you need like content on XR. So you have the platform, now you're looking for content. And I feel like blockchain technology and Web3 is going to really, really bring people into XR through this sort of incentivization. Or, the incentives you have where you as a creator, I keep giving this example, like right now, the way internet is structured, think of like stock photography. Like I used to take pictures, I give it to a stock photography website. For every download, they get $10 and I get like 10 cents. And with Web3, we're talking about a reality where I get $1 and the one who downloads it pays $1, 2 cents, and the 2 cents goes into maintaining that decentralized network that you saw earlier. So basically, you're eliminating this middleman who's sort of hogging all the resources or like money, and you're bringing it directly to the creator. We have seen this phenomenon already, like it happened in Web2 with like Uber, Airbnb, or all these applications were a huge hit because they eliminated all those middlemen, but they're like keeping all the profit right now. And that's what we're trying to change with Web3, eliminate those middlemen as well, who are like very centralized, and sort of make the blockchain and code as the law that sort of runs this whole application, and you as a creator are sort of benefiting out of it.
Got it.
And I need to add one more about the secret sauce, the identity and ownership, right? So the whole metaverse, if you think of ownership in real world, how do you prove that this chair is yours? Or there is also, I can say this entire convention center is mine. Would you believe that? The point is no. So you need some sort of consensus or some kind of authority to say that I own certain things.
I never thought about it. I from now on, I own the convention center. I've just decided that. I like that, actually.
That's the thing. So blockchain technology actually can verify that claim, right? So right now, if you have to see whether I own this or not, you have to go to the government or I don't know which organization keeps track of all of this. So you have to go there, get the actual answer, and then say. So on blockchain, if you make it sort of public, anybody can verify stuff. So it's important for countries like India, where the same land has been sold for 4 different people, and that's like a legal case, right?
Yeah.
So that's real world. But if you move to metaverse, so there in real world we already had objects. We had trees, we had land, and there were structures to prove ownership for, But on metaverse, everything is created by people. So somebody creates like the whole platform. Somebody creates like an asset, like a beautiful digital model. How do they prove that they own it, and how do they set permissions for it? Like, if you're going to reuse that in a different setting, I should be able to get like a royalty, a micropayment. Now, at a scale, like how do you organize all of this? And that's where I feel like blockchain technology is going to make a remarkable progress. It gives the control to the user.
Right.
And the whole NFT thing, don't think NFTs are just like monkey pictures.
No.
So every single object in metaverse could be an NFT. So just the way on cars you have a vehicle identification number, on metaverse, like you have like your own fingerprint on the content that you create.
It's a personal peeve of mine that people use the term NFT to mean the actual object. I dropped an NFT. I'm like, no, you have a digital object that has a verification layer on it, right?
Exactly.
It's not the object, it is the authentication of the object. But we're still in very early days. Do we want to open up the floor now to questions?
Yep, go ahead.
What ideas do you have to encourage UGC creation from the non-crypto crowd, people that might not care about the token that was created, but more how it was used, and trying to really build a bridge between those two communities?
Yeah, so I can talk about the protocol like Polkadot. So we have few blockchains on us that don't have a token at all. So there's a way for you to. So right now, we're in, at least I see that we're in the initial phases. Everybody's trying to discover the best model that sort of works. There are multiple like blockchain ecosystems out there with their own like approach towards like what Web3 is. Even though like Gavin Wood coined the term Web3, it's like everywhere now, and everybody has like their own definition of how it is. Certainly like a tokenless, fee-less way of accessing this sort of applications is in the roadmap of many companies out there. And it also makes sense because you don't want to own one token for having like one service and the other one. It gets too messy at the end.
Yeah.
And certainly, there are projects that are looking at that solution.
I love the community aspect to this, to what's happened with brands using NFTs in secondary markets to drive brand engagement and loyalty and a sense of community. It's more than just buying an object. It's you're buying into a tribe in a way.
I agree. And I'll get to you in just in a bit. So we are seeing this phenomenon where lots of events like music festivals, they're trying to incorporate like Web3 technology, this whole feeling of belonging to a tribe, which we did since the ancient times.
Yeah.
I think blockchain-based like NFT thing is going to enable them to do that in metaverse or virtual world.
Yeah, there was a project. I was at the MIT hackathon last year, and there was a project that I think won. It was fabulous. And it was the idea of having different people who are part of a community from all over the world build something in augmented reality together. It was a permanent installation, but everybody brought a piece to it, and they owned that piece, and so they were building something together that only if you knew it was there, you would be able to see in augmented reality when you came. And it was just such a wonderful way to create a community of people working together across the globe, but also it had that NFT that I built this, and I helped build it, and I put something towards this community.
Right.
So that was another aspect.
Perfect.
I have 2 questions, if I may. The first is you guys mentioned maybe some of the security benefits, some of the, you mentioned like it being in concrete or in stone. And at the same time, I hear like news stories about I don't know, vulnerabilities being taken advantage of and lots of money being lost. Can you, to the novice, like I can't make sense of the two. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, certainly. So, so the first thing is, even in the panels like earlier, people were talking about like education of like, first of all, once you know how it works, you wouldn't fall for that scams or traps as easily. So there's this user aspect. And the other one is the protocol itself. So think of like Bitcoin network. It's been running for like 13 years. People weren't able to like hack it, so there's no major hack on Bitcoin because the code was open source. Everybody knows like how it works. It's just mathematics. Like you're not going to be able to like do any damage there. But what you could do is you can scam Bitcoin owners, into giving away their seed phrase or something like that. So that requires education at that layer. And the scams or hacks that you hear about the other budding like blockchain protocols, that's due to like human error. Like, there's a lot of people, developers who are trying to create like cutting edge technology out there. And if the code is not thoroughly audited, then you have these issues of hacks or losing money.
And there's standards, right? There's EC, I forget which number, ECR.
ERC.
That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ethereum has these ERC standards, but that's the standard, and you as a developer, you have to replicate that standard into actual code.
Got it.
And in blockchain world, we say code is law. So basically, anything that goes in there is like sort of final again. So that comes, it's a double-edged sword in a way.
And my second question, and I'm not a critic at all. I'm really excited about the technology. Earlier, you were talking about the, now you sell a photo, you get 10 cents. The other person gets, the website. And in the future, maybe you get $1, and there's like 10 cents that goes to supporting
the network.
Right, but like, someone would have to set up that platform for this market to exist.
Yep.
How do they get compensated? Or maybe they don't get compensated. And if they don't, what is their motivation to do that? I mean, they still have to pay bills and buy cars and stuff, right?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So in Polkadot, what we have is like a common good infrastructure. So think of roads. Roads are common good. They're useful for everybody. But who puts that effort to create those roads in the first place? So it looks like the blockchain ecosystems are evolving in such a way that lots of funding that comes in. So it involves like setting up this common good infrastructure first that anybody could use. And so governments use like taxes to sort of get that thing. And here, that $1, 2 cents that I mentioned, the 2 cents is the tax that the network sort of takes. And that is being given out to people who maintain the network. Sort of like, in roads need like maintenance too. So here you saw all those individual nodes that are actually maintaining the network. I also give this example. Like, I know many of you, purchase like coffee during the conference. You're swiping your Visa or MasterCard credit cards. So Visa and MasterCard charge a fee, for authenticating the transaction. So what you could do is replicate the whole thing what Visa and MasterCard is doing onto a blockchain network. And instead of Visa and MasterCard getting billions of dollars, this network of 1,000 nodes is going to get that incentive. So you decentralized it. You're working the same way as like Visa or MasterCard, and you're earning a pie of all the revenue that they're being generated. All right.
Thank you. We're actually at time right now. I know it's so hard because ask me anything means ask me anything. But thank you so much to our panelists.
Yeah, I'll be there. If you want to ask me like more questions, I'm right there.
I thought we had more
Thank you.
time left. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you both so much.